Hello everyone and welcome to today's session. And today we'll be discussing the theory for the chapter Human Reproduction. So this is the part 7 of the lecture. Before starting this lecture, I just want to give you one information that the images, text and other materials used in our presentations are for education purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners. If you are the owner and have any concerns or issues, please contact us at sathee@itk.ac.in and we shall remove the content immediately. Please note that parts of the content may have been generated using generative AI, which is experimental. So what are the objectives of today's session? What we will learn, what we will understand in today's session? Yes, first of all, the first objective is to describe the stages of embryonic and the fetal development. So we will discuss what all stages are there during the embryo development. The next is to explain the physiological changes in the mother during the pregnancy. Means which hormones are released, what are the functions of these hormones. Okay, so we'll talk about this also. Okay, physiological changes in the mother during the pregnancy. So what we are going to study in today's session, pregnancy and the embryonic development. Then we will summarize this entire lecture, and in the end we'll also discuss the DPP related to these topics. So let's start with today's session. So we'll be talking about pregnancy and embryo development. Now, what happens after the implantation? So what was implantation? So implantation is when the blastocyst attaches to the endometrium, okay, of the uterus. This is known as the implantation. Okay. Endometrium, this is the innermost wall of the uterus. The uterus wall have 3 layers: perimetrium, myometrium and endometrium. The blastocyst, it will attach to the endometrium. Okay. So what happens after implantation? Finger-like projections appear on the trophoblast. Now, what was trophoblast? So the blastocyst was attached to the uterine wall, endometrium, with the help of the trophoblast. And what was trophoblast? The blastomeres, which are present on the outer surface of the blastocyst, they form the trophoblast. So with the help of the trophoblast, the blastocyst is attached to the endometrium, and trophoblast also provide nutrition to the developing embryo. The finger-like projections appear on the trophoblast, and they are known as the chorionic villi, which are surrounded by the uterine tissue and the maternal blood. Okay. So trophoblast, finger-like projection appear on the trophoblast. These are known as chorionic villi. Okay, these chorionic villi are surrounded by the uterine tissue, means the maternal tissue, as well as the maternal blood. So you can see here 2 kinds of tissues are involved here: fetal tissue and the maternal tissue as well. The chorionic villi and the uterine tissue becomes interdigitated with each other and jointly forms a structural and functional unit between developing embryo or the fetus and maternal body called as the placenta. So now we are discussing about the placenta formation. Okay. So placenta, you can see, consists of 2 types of tissues: chorionic villi, which is fetal tissue, and uterine tissue, which is the maternal tissue. So chorionic villi and uterine tissue, they become interdigitated with each other, and they jointly form a structural and functional unit between what? Between the developing embryo, also known as the fetus, and the maternal body, and this is known as the placenta. The placenta consists of both fetal and the maternal tissue. Clear? It is a structural function unit between embryo and the maternal body. Now, chorionic villi increases the surface area. What is the role of chorionic villi? Increases surface area for efficient exchange of materials and also produce hormones like human chorionic gonadotropin and that are essential for maintaining the pregnancy. So now what is the function of placenta here? Placenta is very important. Okay, we'll talk about the role of the placenta also. Okay, first let's talk about the function of chorionic villi. So this increases the surface area for efficient exchange of materials. Okay, between the fetus and the mother, and it also produces hormones like human chorionic gonadotropin. And this hormone is essential for maintaining the pregnancy. So here you can see this is the image showing you human fetus within the uterus. So this is the fetus or the embryo. This is the cavity of the uterus. Here you can see this is the umbilical cord with its vessel. Here you can see this is the placental villi. Placenta is made up of chorionic villi as well as the maternal tissue. And then placenta leads to this umbilical cord which is attached to this fetus. Now the placenta, what is the function of placenta? It facilitates the supply of oxygen and nutrients to the embryo. So oxygen is required to carry out all the metabolic activities. Okay. Through oxygen, breakdown of the compounds is done and the energy is released. So oxygen is very important. So placenta, it facilitates the supply of oxygen and nutrients to the embryo. Because embryo, it cannot feed itself, so it requires nutrients from the mother. It is dependent on the mother. And placenta also is involved in the removal of carbon dioxide and excretory waste materials produced by the embryo. Now the embryo, through respiration, it will produce carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide has to be eliminated, okay, from the embryo. This is done by placenta. And excretory of waste materials produced by the embryo. So embryo is metabolizing, and during metabolysis, excretory and waste products are produced, like nitrogenous waste. So these waste materials, they can be toxic to the embryo as well, so they need to be removed out of the embryo. So this is done by the placenta. Now placenta is connected to the embryo through an umbilical cord, which helps in the transport of substances to and from the embryo. Okay. So here you can see they have mentioned umbilical cord here. So placenta is connected to the embryo through umbilical cord, which helps in the transport of substances to and from the embryo. Which substances? These oxygen, nutrients, carbon dioxide, and the waste materials. Placenta acts as a protective barrier, preventing harmful substances and most infections from reaching the developing fetus while allowing beneficial substances to pass through. Okay. So again, what is the role of placenta here? Placenta, it is acting as a protective barrier. It prevents the harmful substances and the infections also from reaching the developing fetus. But it allows beneficial substances to pass through it and reach the embryo. All right. Again, we have discussed this image. This is image showing you the human fetus within the uterus. Now, placenta also acts as the endocrine tissue and produces several hormones like human chorionic gonadotropin, human placental lactogen, estrogens, progesterones, etc. So endocrine tissues or endocrine glands, they can produce hormones. The placenta also acts as an endocrine tissue and it produces hormones like HCG, HPL, estrogen as well as progesterone. We'll talk about function of these hormones as well. In the later phase of pregnancy, a hormone called relaxin is also secreted by the ovary. Clear? So we'll talk about the function of relaxin also. So relaxin is secreted by the ovary. Now let us remember that HCG, HPL and relaxin are produced in women only during the pregnancy. Now question can come from here. Okay, which hormones are produced by the women only during the pregnancy? Okay, so these are pregnancy hormones, HCG, HPL as well as the relaxin. In addition, during pregnancy, levels of other hormones like estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine, etc. increase several folds in the maternal blood. So you can see a lot of hormones are being synthesized here. The level of these hormones are increasing several folds in the maternal blood. Okay, so hormones play a very important role in menstrual cycle also and in pregnancy also. Now let's talk about the function of these hormones. First, let's talk about the human chorionic gonadotrophins known as the HCG. It maintains pregnancy by supporting the corpus luteum. Okay. This corpus luteum secretes progesterone, which is very important for maintaining the thickness of the endometrium. It stimulates progesterone production. Okay. Again, progesterone is very important to maintain pregnancy. It is used as pregnancy indicator in the test. Okay, because this is only produced in the pregnancy. So this is used as a marker for pregnancy. Or you can say it is used as a pregnancy indicator. It supports the fetal development. Next, now let's talk about the human placental lactogen. Promotes mammary gland development. So these mammary gland, they secrete milk. Regulates the maternal metabolism also. Now helps in the fetal growth. So metabolism is also affected. The mother metabolism is affected because now the female have to support herself also and the fetus also. Okay, so there is a changes in the metabolism also because fetus also need requirements. It is dependent on the mother. Now, what is the function of relaxin? It softens and relaxes the ligaments as well as the joints. So as the name suggests, relaxin, it will soften, it will relax the ligaments and the joints. It will widen the cervix and it will help prepare for the childbirth. Next is estrogen, which stimulate the uterine growth, means growth of the endometrium, you can say, support in fetal development. Now, progesterone, it maintains pregnancy by maintaining the thickness of the endometrium. It supports the fetal development as well. So you should remember the role of these hormones. Some of the hormones are only released during the pregnancy. Okay, estrogen, progesterone, they are released during the menstrual cycle also. Okay, relaxin, this is released by the ovaries. Next is cortisol. What is the function of cortisol? It helps in the fetal organ development. Regulate the stress response. Aids in energy metabolism. So cortisol affects the metabolism also. Supports the immune function. So these are the other roles of the cortisol. Prepares for the labor. Now, what is the function of prolactin? It stimulates the milk production. This is the major role. helps memory gland development as well. It regulates the maternal behavior also. It supports the immune system. These are some of the other roles of prolactin. Then it influences metabolism also, but main role is the milk production. Now, next hormone is thyroxine. What is the function of thyroxine? So basically, thyroxine also, it regulates, it controls, or you can say it affects the metabolism. It supports fetal brain development. This is also very important. Regulate growth and development. Maintains the energy levels. It is important for neural development as well. Okay, this is clear. So you can see the metabolism of the mother is also affected. Okay, because the fetus is now dependent on the mother. It is obtaining nutrients from the mother. Now, increased production of these hormones that we have just studied is essential for supporting the fetal growth, metabolic changes in the mother, and maintenance of the pregnancy. So these are the overall functions, but I have also listed the individual functions of these hormones. So all of these hormones basically they are essential for supporting the fetal growth, okay, metabolic changes in the mother, as well as they maintain the pregnancy. Immediately after implantation, what happens? There are 3 germ layers. Okay. After implantation, what is happening? Inner cell mass, which will finally differentiate into embryo. Okay. This further differentiate into outer layer called the ectoderm and an inner layer known as the endoderm. So these are the germ layers. Inner cell mass, which will finally develop into embryo. Okay, we have studied when we were studying blastocyst. Blastocyst consists of an inner cell mass which will finally differentiate into embryo. Clear? So what is happening first here? The inner cell mass will start differentiating into outer layers called the ectoderm, inner layer known as the endoderm. Then a mesoderm soon appears between the ectoderm and the endoderm. Okay, ectoderm is the outer layer, endoderm is the inner layer, mesoderm is the middle layer. So these are the 3 germ layers from which all the organs, tissues, okay, these are formed. These 3 layers give rise to all the tissues, or you can say organs, in the adults. Okay. Cells, they combine to form tissue, tissues, they combine to form organs, organs, they combine to form organ system. Now, ectoderm, what does it give rise to? The ectoderm forms the skin, the nervous system, the brain, spinal cord, and the sense organ. Okay, so this is ectoderm. Then mesoderm. It forms the muscles, bones, blood vessels, heart, kidneys, and the connective tissues. Yeah, so these are the all very important organs: heart, kidneys. Okay, blood is also, you can say, blood vessels are also formed. Then bones, muscles, these are all formed by the mesoderm. Then endoderm forms the digestive tract, liver, pancreas, lungs, and other internal organs. Okay, so these 3 germ layers, they will form all the tissues or organs in the, you can say, human body or animal body, you can say. Okay, we are talking about the human here. It needs to be mentioned here that the inner cell mass contains certain cells called the stem cells. So stem cells, they keep on dividing. Okay, and then they can differentiate to form different kind of cells or tissues or organ. So inner cell mass, they contain certain cells known as the stem cells, which have the potency to give rise to all the tissues and the organ. You should remember this. Now, there is a question here. What are the major features of embryonic development at various months of the pregnancy? Now, the human pregnancy lasts for 9 months. So, gestation period or pregnancy in human female, this goes for 9 months. Okay, so they are asking what are the major features of embryonic development at various months of the pregnancy. So, there are 9 months. Okay, so month wise, they are asking, okay, what all things you can say develop. Okay, clear? In first month, second month, third month, like this, or trimester wise. Features of the embryonic development. At which stage the embryo has what features? Now, next is, do you know how many months pregnancy lasts in dogs, elephants, and cats? So, like in humans, pregnancy is for 9 months. How many months pregnancy lasts in dogs, elephants, and cats? Then next question, find out in human beings after 1 month of pregnancy, the embryo's heart is formed or not. So let's have a look at the answer now. Answer for the first question, various stages of embryonic development in humans. So heart formation occurs during the first month. Then the first sign of growing fetus may be noticed listening to the heart sound carefully through the stethoscope. You can see here, first of all, the heart is formed. Okay, when the heart is formed, it can pump the blood now. Now, blood can reach various, you can say, organs, various part of the body. In the first month, heart formation occurs. You can listen this sign of the growing fetus through stethoscope. A neural tube begins to form, which will develop into brain as well as the spinal cord. Brain and spinal cord forms the central nervous system. Next is the second month. The development of lips and digits occur here in the second month. Now, facial features like eye, nose, and ears start forming. Now, first trimester. Okay, each trimester is for 12 weeks. The first trimester means by 12 weeks, most major organ systems are formed. Organ systems are formed here, you can see. Organ systems are like digestive system, excretory system. Major organ systems are formed, limbs are well developed, and external genital organs are well developed. Baby's finger and toes are fully separated. What is happening in the first month? First fetal movements can be felt. Hair begins appearing on the head. The fetus develops sleeping and waking patterns. Second trimester means by 24 weeks, the body is covered with fine hair, eyelids separate and eyelashes form. Baby can hear and respond to sounds from outside the womb. Okay. Now 9 months. What happens in the 9 months? Fetus is fully formed, okay, ready for the delivery. Now most babies turn into a head down position preparing for the birth. Okay, clear? So you should note here that the each trimester is for 12 weeks. Okay, then you can see this is the second trimester. Means it will be of 24 weeks because one trimester is of 12 weeks. Then after 9 months, the fetus is fully developed. Okay, and the fetus, you can say, turn into a head down position. Now, pregnancy duration in other animals, let's have a look at the answer for this. In dogs, it is approximately 63 days, or you can say 2 months. In cats, it is approximately 65 days, or again 2 months. In elephants, it is 18 to 22 months, which is longest among the land mammals. Now, next one regarding heart formation in the human embryos. So, yes, the heart begins forming during the first month of the pregnancy, specifically around day 22 to 23 after conception. Now, by the end of first month, the heart is beating and circulating the blood. Okay. So, what is the role of heart? It is a pumping organ. So, it helps in the circulation of the blood now. And blood can carry oxygen, can carry nutrients, and it can also carry the waste product as well as carbon dioxide also. Okay. So you should know about all of this. Okay. What are the features of the embryo at different stages or different months? Okay. So they can ask you a question here. In which stage the heart is formed, in which stage the limbs and digits are formed, at which stage or at which month the major organ systems are developed. Then what happens in the 9 months? Okay. Okay, so now let's summarize this entire lecture. So we talked about the pregnancy. So pregnancy begins with fertilization of egg by the sperm. So what happens? These are gametes. Egg and sperm, these are the gametes. Egg is the female gamete, sperm is the male gamete. So fusion of the egg and the sperm, this is known as fertilization. After the fertilization, zygote is formed, which is a diploid structure. And this zygote, it will undergo mitotic divisions known as the cleavage, and it will form the morula. Okay, then it will form the blastocyst. The blastocyst will implant in the uterine wall, means the blastocyst will attach to the uterine wall. Then what happens? Placenta formation. Clear? So the chorionic villi, along with the maternal tissues, it forms the placenta. Now you should know the role of the placenta as well. Okay, what is the function of placenta? So placenta helps to deliver the oxygen as well as the nutrients to the fetus, and it carries the waste products as well as the carbon dioxide from the embryo. So in the embryo, due to the metabolic activities such as respiration, the carbon dioxide is produced and nitrogenous waste is also produced. So these has to be eliminated out. Otherwise, it can be toxic to the embryo. So placenta helps in removing of these toxins also, as well as carbon dioxide also. Clear? Now placenta, you can say, is connected to the embryo through the umbilical cord. Okay. Clear? And the pregnancy in the human female, it is for 9 months, means the gestation period is for 9 months. It can vary, this gestation period can vary in other animals. Okay, in other mammals, like in dogs, dogs and cat, it is around 2 months. And elephant, it is around, maximum can be 22 months in elephants. Now, normal duration is 9 months in human females, which is approximately 280 days. Now, the gestation period of pregnancy is divided into 3 trimesters. Each trimester is for 12 weeks. Now, the pregnancy can be confirmed by HCG hormone. So, this is the biomarker for the pregnancy. So, you should remember this. A question can come from here. Now, we have discussed the various roles of these hormones also. You should know about the roles of these hormones also. Now, placenta is formed, which helps in the nutrient exchange as well as the removal of the waste products from the embryo. Then let's talk about some important features of placenta. It provides nutrition. Then amniotic fluids protects the embryo. So amniotic fluid, what is the role of amniotic fluid? This is present in the amniotic sac and it protects the embryo. Now there's a technique known as amniocentesis, in which amniotic fluid is analyzed, and by analyzing the amniotic fluid, the sex of the child can be determined. As well as genetic disorders in the child can also be determined. But this amniocentesis technique is being misused. So now it has been banned because people were using it to determine the sex of the child, which is not legal. If the embryo will develop into female, then they were aborting the female, and the cases of female feticide was increasing, so they have banned amniocentesis. Although there is advantage of amniocentesis also, as it can be used to detect the genetic disorders also. Umbilical cord, it connects the fetus to the placenta. Now there are two things, placenta and the umbilical cord. The umbilical cord, it connects fetus to the placenta, and we have already discussed the role of the placenta. Okay. Now birth occurs through labor contractions. So we'll talk about this also. Okay, so there is a contraction in the uterus wall, especially in the myometrium. So myometrium consists of smooth muscles. So these smooth muscles, they can contract. And again, hormone oxytocin, this induces contractions in the uterine wall. And this contractions is very important for the expulsion of the baby. So these contractions, they push the baby out of the female body through the vagina, or you can say the birth canal. Okay, so this was the end of this session. So in this session, we talk about the pregnancy, we talk about the gestation period, we talk about a lot of physiological changes that occur in the mothers. Okay, we talked about the various hormones which are released. We talked about the various function of these hormones. Okay, so some of the hormones, they are only released during the pregnancy. Okay, so you should know the functions of these hormones as well. Yes, all of these things are occurring after the implantation. Clear? So after implantation, what happens? The blastocyst, or during or in implantation, what happens? Blastocyst get attached to the uterine wall. Okay, clear? Then what happens? The inner cell mass in the blastocyst, this will further differentiate into the embryo. And this inner cell mass, first of all, it differentiates into the three germ layers: ectoderm, endoderm, and a mesoderm is then formed in between. Now, all the tissues, all of the organs are formed from these germ layers. So you should know this also. Okay, then you should know when the heart is formed, when the limbs and digits are formed. Clear? When the eyelids are formed. When does the fetal movement can be detected? Okay, clear? So this was about pregnancy. So now let's discuss the DPP related to this topic. Now, what is the first question here? Which structure is formed by the interdigitation of chorionic villi and the uterine tissue? Okay. So they are asking the name of the structure which is formed by the interdigitation of the chorionic villi, which is the fetal. Okay, it is considered as a fetal tissue, and the uterine tissue, which is the maternal tissue. So here, 4 options are given to you. You have to answer the correct. You can say you have to choose the correct options from these. So first option is umbilical cord, second is placenta, third is endometrium, and fourth is the amniotic sac. So what will be the correct answer? Okay, the correct answer here should be placenta. So placenta consists of the maternal as well as the fetal tissue. Chorionic villi is the fetal tissue. Uterine tissue is the maternal tissue. Okay. The answer should be option number B, placenta. Now, placenta helps in it supplies oxygen as well as nutrients to the fetus, and also it carries the carbon dioxide and the excretive waste products away from the embryo. Now, which hormone is not produced by placenta during the pregnancy? So, placenta also secretes some hormones. Okay, it also acts as endocrine tissue. So, which of the hormone is not produced by placenta during the pregnancy? Options are human chorionic gonadotrophin, prolactin, human placental lactogen, and estrogen. So, what would be the correct answer? The correct answer here will be prolactin. So, prolactin is basically secreted by the anterior pituitary, not by the placenta. Now, next, by the end of which month of pregnancy are the fetus limbs and digits fully developed? Okay. Yeah, so they are asking about the month. Okay. So during first month, second month, or third month, or ninth month, which one? What are the options here? First month, second month, fifth month, and the ninth month. What is the correct answer here? Okay, the correct answer will be second month. Okay, the limbs and digits they develop fully during the second month. Okay, during the first month, the heart will develop, and in the ninth month, the entire fetus is developed. Next question: which hormone secreted by the ovary in later stage of pregnancy? Yes, so answer here is relaxin. Relaxin is the correct answer. The next, which of the primary functions of the umbilical cord? So what will be the answer here? Production of hormones, transport of substances between embryo and placenta. Third is formation of chorionic villi. Fourth is differentiation of germ layers. Where the correct answer will be transport of substances between embryo and placenta. Okay, so we have discussed all the questions here. Okay, so this is the end of the session. I hope the session was quite knowledgeable for you. Thank you very much for listening.